with liberty and justice for all.
Okay.
All right, well, we do have a forum.
We do.
All right, so the first item is presentations. Do we want to have a presentation, or what do we want to do? What was,
No, there's no presentation.
the next item is the review and approval of the minutes from the June 1st meeting on pages 1 through 5. And after you take a look, I'll need a motion on that.
Make a motion, we adopt them as written.
Okay, Tom made a motion, do we have a second? Second. Polly's the second, all in favor? Unanimous, okay. Next item is public hearing, we don't have one. Next item is new business. Number 1 is the consideration of the updated local emergency operations plans, pages 6 through 58. Do we want to have them?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Nick is here, and do you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you for allowing us to come speak with you today. My name is Nick Burgess with Coweta County 911 Emergency Management. I'm joined with Mr. Jacob Eason. He's our EMA specialist. And today we're here to answer any questions you may have on the LEOP. So with that plan, just to give you a brief oversight, that is one of the plans that we cover, maintain, update, oversee for emergency management over all of Coweta County. So it encompasses everything, like all the municipalities, all the rural areas, all the cities. We're all in this together so that the plan is comprehensive. We do update the plan every 4 years or as needed. So we absolutely touch it every 4 years, but normally, usually, we have to update it more because we'll have folks changing positions, new phone numbers to update, addresses, things change, right? So that's what updates in the plan. So a lot of what you're reading right now is some of those updates that we're talking about, trying to get a new updated version adopted by all our partners, and that way we're all working off the same sheet of music.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm more than happy to elaborate as much as you like. I know Jake was instrumental in getting this thing put together, so any questions that you may have, inside that plan you've got the basic plan, and then you've got a lot of what we call annexes. So you have functional annexes and you have hazard-specific annexes. So that's essentially the plan of what we're going to do if we have a tornado, or if we're going to have a flooding event, if we have a spill on the interstate. We get specific about who's responding to what, where they're going to be, that point of contact. A lot for emergency management is doing exactly what we're doing right now, this networking and partnering, trying to meet you all on blue sky days, right?
Mhm.
Preparing for those dark sky days so we know who to call, and it's likewise you would know who to call if you needed help. If you needed, your resources got depleted, we need help with public works, we need help closing streets, whatever that may look like, that is our goal, is to help resource requests, get that stuff fulfilled, as well as ongoing, right? So monitoring the weather, what we have going on, doing training and exercise with all of our partners, understanding what you all have concerns on, how can we help, how can we provide resources to whatever that may look like. If it is training, if it's response, recovery, anything in that cycle of the disaster, right?
I attended a meeting at Peachtree City just after the tornado came in, what, been 5 years ago?
Yes, sir, 2021.
Yeah, and did this grow out of that?
So the
What
plan
you,
is
what you learned?
absolutely some lessons were learned from that.
Because they really pointed out a lot of things that they thought they'd learned, things they did wrong, and I figured that they were gonna come up with something like this.
Yes, sir. So we've had the plan in place. We've had an LEOP. It hasn't had an update since 2021, but there's absolutely lessons and best practices taken from that experience.
Should we anticipate most likely scenarios and try to be prepared to apply this to those situations?
Absolutely. That's exactly what we're trying to do as well. So to elaborate on your point, another plan that emergency management oversees is the hazard mitigation plan. And so in that plan is the generators that we spoke of. So that's where they're identified when mitigation money, preparedness grant money becomes available through the state, if we list it in the hazard mitigation plan as a vulnerability, something we need, then we're eligible to apply for that grant, which we have, it's included. So that is, when that application period opens, we can absolutely submit for whatever size generator is needed from this facility. But what we would have to do is some homework on the front end, realizing what size you need and all of those things, but being a Red Cross facility, that would help.
Mhm.
I was thinking along the lines of a truckload of chlorine turning over out here on the highway, you know, that kind of thing. Because those kind of things happen.
Yes, sir. And so adding to that conversation on the hazard mitigation plan, and that's every 5 years, there is a vulnerability assessment done. And so a vulnerability assessment, we go through and do exactly what you're saying. We try to identify what has changed in the last 5 years. What are we more susceptible to now? What is Coweta County and all of our citizens more vulnerable to? Is it things on the interstate? Is it the gas lines coming in? Is it the approach to Hartsfield that comes right over us? Is it the railway? So understanding what all that has changed as we grow, on top of things that we can't control. So weather. So our number one risk is thunderstorms for severe weather. So trying to build plans to accompany all of those risks.
You can't cover everything.
You know, you can't cover everything, but we try to at least have buckets that things fall in, man-made things, technological things, natural disasters, and then we try to backfill those with what's in that plan, our ESFs, our emergency support functions. So those will list out all of our partners in Coweta County, from fire to law to communications to transportation, medical, utilities, media, all those pieces that you need to be able to put together quickly so you can coordinate effectively.
One thing you've mentioned is training. Does that training extend down to us as well? And if so, how would you see that training go for us? I mean, it's me and Angie are the only staff, everybody else is council. How would that work out?
So for training, it's going to be really dependent on what the emergency is, what the disaster is.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of what we experience and what we see is documentation. So any training that you can do on how to document for a disaster is extremely beneficial. We have to document everything to be eligible for that presidential declaration. So if the state needs $21 million, it can become a presidential declaration and you can be eligible for reimbursements, much like 2021's tornado.
Okay.
And that's one of the things they brought up at that meeting was that they didn't do a good job of that, and it caught them.
The documentation piece?
Yeah, and
Yes,
they really had to hustle to get everything squared away in time from FEMA.
From FEMA.
Federal government.
It steps right up the chain from us to GMA to FEMA. And to your point, like what training can you do? There is training out there on how do we need to document this?
Okay.
What does it need to, what kind of spreadsheet should we save it on? What does it need to look like? That way you're not having to recreate your documents. You
Okay.
already know before the incident occurs how we need to go about this. If we need to do a local state of emergency for the city, the town, how that needs to go.
Okay.
Can I ask you, we have instructors, we have classes in here. And we also have events, you know, people coming on the weekends. Is there a way that there is a plan that we can put together so that when people are here and if there's an emergency, what they have to do, where they have to go, what's the safest, you know, those kind of things? Do you offer that kind of, because we need guidance with this, because it's like, again, it's just him and I, so we don't have somebody here 24/7 supervising everybody and making sure everything's okay, and if there's a, you know, if we have something written that we can give people, say, look, in case of, or post it in case of emergency, this is what you need to do. That would be something that I think would be very helpful for us.
Yes, ma'am. You want to speak to ERP real quick?
Yeah, so we do ERPs, emergency response plans, for all the county buildings. And what that is just a list of the contacts that are gonna be in the building. If y'all not gonna be here 24/7, you can at least put your names down as contacts. And then we also we go through and do training with them of if there's an active shooter, or when we do have fire alarms so they can have to activate, get everyone out of the building, all that stuff. And you could do one for this building as well and just have it posted somewhere, or send it to somebody, whoever's gonna be in the building that day. And it'll have your contact information, but then you can also have it say, you know, if there's a tornado, this is the safest place to go to. If there's a fire, use these alarms, everyone meet out in this area. Usually we designate an area, so fire, when they're responding, you're not in their way, but you can also maintain, you know, safety and make sure you do a count of everybody.
How do we schedule something like that with you?
So I got a business card on the table. I left one with the Coweta Alerts card as well, and we have your card, so we can just
Okay.
communicate and
Okay,
because we have templates for them. We just have to plug in all your information and get maybe a blueprint of the building and stuff like that, just so we
Okay.
can see where's the safest place to go.
that's awesome, thank
Okay.
you.
We typically rely on the county for everything, everything bigger than a Band-Aid. Would it behoove us to, in looking at these scenarios, to come up with some basic equipment, cones, tape, do not cross the line tape,
Barricades and stuff like
barricades,
that.
things like that, something that an early responder could grab while he's waiting on the county to come.
So I would say yes, sir. I think having equipment that you can get when you need it is absolutely helpful for a timely response. If you need to shut down a road, if there's a tree across the road or something like that, to prevent someone from coming that direction until either Public Works or first responders can get on the scene. So yes, having some equipment wouldn't be the worst idea by any means.
None of us are trained paramedics.
No.
I just wonder how quickly, paramedics would show up.
Paramedics, that's called a 911. So you call 911 and dispatch.
If a mile-wide tornado comes through, I'm not sure where we would be on the pecking order.
But I can understand, it's, when it comes to 911, much like the night of the tornado, it's all hands on deck, and we're sending help in every direction as fast as we can.
Yeah, well, a lot of the medical calls, they have to run, first call, first come, first serve. That's the way the EMS runs on one side. Now, we do pull a fire chief in there, and he's able to delegate more of the tree down calls and that kind of stuff, so we can get roads cleared. And then we also have mutual aid with a lot of the surrounding counties, so not only all of our ambulances are coming, but all the other ambulances from like surrounding counties are coming too. So you have some coming from Fayette County and stuff like that to come and help.
But you mentioned equipment, so in resource request, resource allocation is one of the big things that EMA does. So we have the capability to reach throughout Coweta for barricades or barriers like you mentioned, but we also have partners in surrounding counties that we can reach out to request that. If that's exhausted, we can reach up to the state level to GEMA, and then of course, if we needed to go even higher than that to FEMA, that is the route that we usually go asking for resources.
Do you have a sort of a guide, like people, like you said, bring up the postage stamp thing, we've had nothing, but people that are just starting with the minimum, maybe suggested things we should do or have, like a beginner kit?
Yes, ma'am. So if you, ready.gov is a wonderful resource to access exactly what you're talking about. And it will give you basic checklists for every type of emergency you can think of. So from man-made to natural to all those things, and you can pick and choose what you're wanting to prepare for. And it'll break it down for you, thinking about your checklist, thinking about how much water you may need for a certain amount of days, how much food and batteries, medication, all those things that become, they seem easy to remember until it's on them.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I didn't charge my phone. So,
I'm the neighborhood prepper.
No, we're
we understand.
We're all going to Tom's house, he's
There
got all
you
the
go.
food.
We always say if anything ever happens, we're gonna come out fatter than we went in.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what we're eating, huh?
We'll give you his address later. Yeah.
Do you guys have any more questions?
I don't.
No? Awesome, well, this looks great, thank you.
So
guys
we
for
need
coming.
approval for you to sign it.
Yes, so can we get a motion?
I make a motion that we approve it for her to sign it.
Okay, Tom made a motion, do we have a
If
second?
you want.
Polly, all in favor, unanimous? Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, I just want to say, Nick and Jason, the Coweta Alert is wonderful.
It is great.
It's,
Mhm.
last week, it's when the shooting was down at Grantville. It saved me a bunch of time,
Yeah,
because the minute I got the alert, I pivoted to go to LaGrange the back way.
yeah,
There you go.
So, I mean, if I hadn't gotten that alert, I'd been stuck.
yeah, it's great.
And there would
I'm
be
glad to
some
hear that.
angry folks in LaGrange, so.
Yeah,
Can we keep those cards, the Coweta alerts, and keep them in the office so people will,
Absolutely. And if you need more, we'll bring you all the cards. The more we can get the community signed up for that, we can do exactly that. Trying to spread that word as fast as we can. And that actually spans across to our Facebook page, the county website. All that information is shared, and it's all sharing the same message. So any help we can do getting that distributed in the community, fantastic.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank y'all so much.
Awesome, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you, sir.
All right,
And we do
number
it
two.
fast. I've got it signed here if you want it.
Number two is consideration of the 2026 village
Thank you.
rates, pages 59 through 61. Floyd, do you wanna?
Yeah, so everybody should have a write-up that I did just a little bit ago because we received new information today. There isn't really a good way, it's 4 pages of write-up, so I know it's easy to get lost in the weeds. The basic idea is because we have more flossed money coming in now than we normally would have with property tax money if we levied millage rates, we're basically compelled at this point to roll our millage rates down to 0. If you don't go to 0, if you make it anything higher than 0, then you have to go out and advertise that you're raising taxes. Okay? So in other words, we would normally receive roughly about $26,000 to $27,000 in property tax. Right now, currently, we have $37,000, and we're looking to have close to about $74,000 by the end of the year. So the idea of a floss was to lower your property taxes, and we're well exceeding that. So back in November, we passed a resolution saying we wanted to roll to 0. There's been a little bit of question about could we or should we, and I think the absolute answer for a multitude of reasons is we must roll to 0. I don't think we have a choice. I wanted to make sure that everybody's on the same page and that we go from there. And then once I make sure we're all on the same page, I'm gonna go ahead and put the 5-year plan out, advertise it as required. And then at the next meeting in August, we'll pass the resolution and set it down to 0.
Okay.
If there's no cries or complaints or outrage.
What are other cities doing?
I don't know what everybody else is doing, but Noonan passed a resolution, they're rolling to 0. I don't think Coweta has the ability to yet because they don't have enough flossed funds that have come in yet. As far as the other cities are concerned, I'm not sure where they stand. I do know where we stand, I don't think we have a choice.
Well, it's not a bad thing.
No, it's not.
If nobody else is doing it, we're gonna be the brightest child in the class. Okay.
But anyway, I gave you I know when you look at it, I've been staring at these numbers and go cross-eyed staring at them, but I think I've got it down simple enough where if you just sit there and read it, you'll start to understand what we're looking at and why we're at 0. Okay? And I think I've got directions, we'll move forward with the 0 millage rate.
Yeah, do we need a motion?
I just need a direction is all.
Okay. What do you guys think?
I'll make the motion that we set the 0 millage rate.
Okay.
Okay, Polly made a motion, do a second. Tom has a second, all in favor? Unanimous, all right. The next item is the consideration of draft of the film ordinance, pages 62 through 73.
Okay. This is something that Angie and I have been playing with a little bit. So, as you know, we've had several people who have come to us, some that have not actually followed all the way through and others who did. With filming, we had The Bondsman with Kevin Bacon a couple years ago. Last year, we had Mark Wahlberg show up and do a movie as well. And one of the things, we were able to work through it, but it was working through it kind of piecemeal and nothing with any real tangible, this is what your plan is or how you do it or what we charge. In other words, when Wahlberg's movie, for instance, showed up, the town profited $50, which is a steal if you're going to try to run a movie. They're making millions and this place charged you $50. But for $50, we shut down roads, we shut down town hall, we had disruption. I'm not saying it was bad, but I'm saying it had an impact on the town. And not every film and not every show is going to be the same. Some of it's going to be out here and wants to film in the park, and others wants to blow up bombs and have car chases. So not everybody gets treated the same. When I worked over at Fayette, we addressed one of these type of policies. I don't believe it was an ordinance, but it was at least a policy on what to do whenever somebody comes and asks for filming. You know, if they're wanting to fire guns, you know, do we allow that? Should we notify somebody so that 911 doesn't get called and think somebody's having an active shooter over here? What are the steps that need to be taken? What about the charges that need to be made? And because they're not all the same, we can look at them as two different approaches. One sort of a soft filming, and then another is more like close everything, and we're having a car chase come through town. How do you deal with it? So this ordinance is an attempt to start answering some of those questions. As an attempt to start putting down on paper how much somebody gets charged, how much is, if they're here for 3 days and we're closing town hall for 3 days, should there be a charge for that? Or should that matter, do we have the ability to just say no and say, you can't be here, it's too disruptive? It's a first stab at getting something truly on paper so that when we get approached, we were approached just a month ago. We almost had to deal with this situation again. And that's really what prompted this is, we just don't want to be standing there with our hands in the air saying we think we're doing it right. We want to be able to tangibly say, here's what we're doing.
Does it make sense to come up with a sliding scale? I mean, and I just use these for examples. If it's a 1 day deal versus a 4 day deal, then your price goes from 20 to 100. If you're gonna shut down City Hall for a working day, 1 day versus 2 versus 3, sliding scale on that.
That's basically what this is.
It's basically what this says.
Okay. And if you're gonna have large caliber guns going off, a lot of disruption potential, you're gonna have to quantify that somehow.
Right. And so that's what,
it does.
for the most part, it does. I don't think that it's going to be impossible to hit every single scenario, but for the large part, covers it all.
Yeah, if you've got a multi-day, shutting down the facility multi-day, shutting down roads multi-day, that would be a higher price than.
It'd be a high impact film.
One day where Kevin Bacon has
Correct.
lunch at the.
That's right.
Joe's store.
Right.
That's right. It's a different, so it scales it, right? So we had a request, some of the times it'll be, they want to park here and then take buses to another location. They just want to use our parking space. Well, I'm not going to charge them for shutting down roads. I'll just say $50, whatever that scale may be. But if they come in here and want to shut down the town hall and bring in everybody and shut down roads and have to coordinate with EMA, yeah, we need to probably be a little bit different than charge them $50.
And coordinate with instructors, because we also have to then take into consideration that we've got instructors that are going to have to be reimbursed for their time as well.
What is the policy with instructions, since you mentioned that?
This is what we're working on, this is why we're working on it.
What
What
we've
done in the past is that the instructors tell us how much revenue they make for that class, and that bill is going to the film company, who will reimburse them for that amount.
But it also brings staff in as well. It's staff time as well. It's the film company coming to us and then the instructors coming to us, and we're in the middle of it all, but at the end of the day, all we're doing is playing referee between one and the other.
Right.
And so what we're trying to say is, if they want to shut down Kay's class, they come talk to Kay, and Kay says, here's the bill, and Kay pays them. Or they pay Kay, I should say. And we don't need to be getting in the mix completely all the way through.
I've got a friend of my wife's who's a producer, and I talked to him about this 3 years ago. And what you're talking about there is not. He said it was not. It's not unreasonable.
Right.
So you wouldn't get any resistance.
No.
The other thing
No.
too is, in the process, Floyd and I have been doing research on contracts that other towns do with film companies. So I've looked at Sonoy, I've looked at McDonough, I think I've even looked at Munin. So I've looked at all of them and putting together the contracts for them to sign, which will coincide with the ordinances. So everything will be one thing. So whatever the ordinance says is going to be what's going to be on the contract as well. We don't have a formal contract for film companies. So it's nice to be able to say, okay, here's the ordinance and here's the contract, and really kind of solidifying that part of it instead of figuring out what form we're going to use. Do we just use a rental agreement or not? So those kind of things.
Right.
Okay.
So is it gonna be more like an event? The thing you have to do for events is what I kinda gathered from this.
Sort of different than the event. So.
Well, I know different,
But with the previous ones, we worked with the special event permit, and that's why it was only $50.
Yeah.
But the special event permit really doesn't cover, like, shutting down town hall for a week. It's more like there's a car show.
well, I know,
So,
I remember that.
yes,
But I
ma'am.
remember when they came before, not the last ones, but the first ones that came here, they paid all the merchants whatever amount, I don't know how they came to an amount, but they paid them for every day they were closed, they paid them X number of dollars.
Yeah.
So they would just completely let them have the place and be gone or shut it down one.
That's right.
I think.
But I also remember that because they seemed to be, we didn't seem very open to having them here, they went to Sonoy. That's been a long time
Mhm.
ago. But you know what the benefit they reap from having.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm not looking to, I'm not looking
Run them
to,
off is my point.
yeah, I don't want to run them off, but at the same time, I don't want to be taken fully advantage of either. And, so absolutely. So I think this is a good, solid ground on where we should be.
All you're doing is
I think so.
all you're really doing is recovering your costs.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you can also put some notes, you want your name written on the credits.
We can do that too. In fact, I believe it actually is a part of that,
And the town
thanks to
council-
Sharpburg.
And everybody in the town council gets a small speaking role.
The thing is that.
Some of us
that
speak
the-
more than others,
The other thing is, the other thing is that.
especially her.
The other thing too is that when, it's only Floyd and I, all these other municipalities have someone that is designated to do this. So for us, we need to really have this in order to be able to be more efficient with our time and with dealing
Yeah.
with those people coming in and saying, these are the rules, this is what you gotta sign. Here you go. Instead of trying to figure, well, we're gonna do this, no, you come with a plan. You tell us how many officers you're gonna need, your responsibility to do, these are the things you're gonna be responsible for. And I think that takes a lot of the pressure off Floyd and I having to take care of that.
I think it's great. Thank you guys for putting it together.
Well, since it sounds like we're,
What do you plan to, do you have a time frame to try to have this ready by X number of days or weeks?
well, because this is a draft, it's just sort of a formula that we threw out there to see if it had any sort of interest with council. I think at this point, we would turn it to Brad and let him put it onto a true ordinance format. And we can bring it back for the August and then September meetings, have our first and second hearing and vote it in September. That's what I think we can do.
Do you have the things you said you gathered the information from all the towns, could you have it available so we can see that?
I do have it, I can make copies of it for you.
But this is largely drafted off
Because it's
of,
all drafted, because everything is just a draft right now. A
I'd
lot
just
of,
like to see what you made the decision with.
well, I can tell you the majority of what you're looking at here is coming from City of McDonough. City of McDonough is, they're a city, they're not a county, so it's a little bit larger, but at the end of the day, this is what they've tried and true.
and not everything that they have, because they say, well, you have to go to the police chief, you gotta go to the fire chief. Of course, we don't have that, so there's things that we've had to,
Had to swap and modify.
Basically, I just wanted to see what you used to make your recommendation.
Well, I don't use just McDonough, though, I've also used Sonoy, and I believe Munin was the other one that I used. So I used multiple ones to see which
But the
one
answer
had
is
a
yes.
part. Pardon?
Your answer is yes. Charlie.
So I think since there is buy-in, I think we now turn it to Brad and let him work up the
Do we
ordinance
need to
for it.
vote on this right now or no?
I think it's just direction.
I'm not gonna vote on it right now.
It's just direction.
Let's see stuff first.
Okay, all right, wonderful.
Okay.
So, next item is old business, and it's ratification of the Arbor Valley deck repair approval, pages 74 through 75.
Yeah, may I speak? Mayor,
Sure.
I'm the one that started the tempest in the teapot on this, and I apologize, except I think I did the right thing. We had, I went back and reviewed the video that I took, and we had, I didn't know this until after the meeting, of course, because I just didn't put it all together so later, that we had known about this for a month, the thing that was urgent to be put on, and it was, we made a vote on it without being on the agenda or amending the agenda. And when I made the comment, and I did ask at the meeting, said it wasn't on the agenda, that, I think it should have stopped at that point, but anyway, I appreciated how quickly, when I sent Brad a yes or no, yes or no thing, I said, were we or were we not in violation? He said, technically, yes. I love answers like that. And then he said, all you're gonna have to do at the next meeting is ratify it. But I also wanna know, in a circumstance like that again, and it could happen again, who's responsible and what should we do?
Well, the easier thing to do is the way the open meetings is set up it doesn't say that you have to vote to amend the agenda. What it recognizes is that there may be certain items that come up that haven't been previously posted on the agenda. So we're talking about what the statute says versus practicality and what the good practice is. And the good practice is to amend the agenda, all right? Because that way you don't run the risk of the public saying you're always voting on stuff that's not on the agenda.
Right.
And so that's good practice. Now, the problem is it's a properly, well, it's not a problem, but what the concern, I guess, that you were raising about the violation is that you were at a properly constituted advertised meeting.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like you're taking votes outside of a properly advertised meeting,
Right.
which is what the Open Meetings Act really frowns upon. All right, so while there's stuff about criminal violations and other things in the open meetings, in this particular instance, the penalty, if there's a penalty, is that technically it's a void vote. All right, so you really didn't have authority to pay the bill, do you see? And so all you have to do is ratify what you've already done. So, but that's the penalty. It's not like holding secret meetings and all.
Well, I never said it was a secret meeting.
Well, I understand, but I'm trying to make the distinction between the onerous parts of the Open Meeting Act and penalties and remedies versus a situation like this, which the remedy is to ratify, the penalty is it's a void vote.
What if you've got a situation where it's potentially a deadly issue? Do you do it and then come back and
Well, but you can always amend the agenda.
Right, we should
Okay.
just amend
Yeah,
the
I mean,
agenda.
because if it's under any circumstance, you know, I'm not gonna say, you know, never that something doesn't pop up in the meeting,
Right,
you know, but, usually you're gonna know ahead of the meeting.
Mhm.
Now, it may occur after you publish the agenda. And that's the whole thing, is that we look at it from a practice standpoint, that the better practice is to go ahead and amend the agenda and then vote on the issue.
amend the agenda when it comes up?
yes.
Okay, that makes sense. That's it.
That's easy to
Yeah.
do.
It's an easy thing.
All right,
I just feel like in that case, you know, with the photographs we were shown, you know, you wouldn't wanna walk out there. And if anybody did, you know, they could go through it, they could fall off of it.
Oh,
The whole
The
thing-
liability was huge.
So it was pretty much, I looked at it as an emergency move.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
liability huge.
I just know when I went to the training, they hammered it into our head big time.
Oh, yeah.
What trouble you could get into
Yeah.
if you did that, and I didn't wanna get in big trouble.
Well, I'd rather get,
And
I'd
actually, there weren't but 3 people here that time either, so it would've been us.
rather get in big
Not the
trouble
whole
over something
crowd.
like that than big trouble over somebody falling through breaking their neck. By us waiting 30 days to act on it.
Well,
Yeah, exactly.
the other thing is that another entity, which not around here, but that I've done some work for in the past, and I was on the email list for them, they had an emergency kind of situation that came up. And the chair sent out an email and said, you know, we need to do this and fix this and do this before their next meeting. And he said, please vote yes or no.
No.
And all of a sudden I started seeing these, yes, yes, yes. And I emailed back and I said, wait a minute. I said, this is illegal and you know better than this. And it was kind of like, oh, I forgot. You know, that's illegal,
Right.
you know, and all. Now, what's the proper thing to do? We've had an emergency situation to come up. We need to spend $5,000 to fix this. Does anybody have any objection to us going ahead and doing it?
Right.
We've done that.
That's a different
Yeah.
thing.
We've done that before
Yeah.
too, where I've called and
But-
told council and they brought it back and ratified it up.
Now, a purist might say that's a violation. Do you see? But now I wouldn't do it on everything,
Right.
but only in an emergency situation. Of course, the other thing is Floyd's done, he just call you all up individually on the phone and just say, hey, you know, this is, and that's not a violation now. Does it elude the spirit? Well, it might if you don't put it on the next agenda and ratify what you do.
Right.
So,
I
but,
thought in a real emergency, you were allowed to do it, like the phones, I thought that was on a real emergency. Well, see, I didn't take this to be a real emergency, frankly.
You ain't never fallen off a deck.
Well, it'd been going on a month, how can that be an emergency? It should have been on the agenda then.
No, I'm gonna kick back on
Well,
that.
anyway,
The absolute
whatever.
answer is no, we got the quotes on the day of. So we didn't have it for a month and sit on it for a month, so
Well, that's what you said
completely
on
no.
the tape, on the video. I know that's not, don't correct me, because I know this, he's gonna tell me that's not authentic, it's not the right word. The only thing you can count is real is the approved minutes. Isn't that right? In other words, what I got on the tape doesn't count to a hill of beans. What counts is what's on the approved minutes.
correct.
Okay, so I know that doesn't count, but I do it anyway.
But to clarify a little bit, we were informed about this deck. We went out for quotes. We received no quotes until literally the day of the meeting. That's why it took some time, and that's why it wasn't ready for the agenda. Is because what am I gonna tell you, that we have a deck problem and no quotes? We got the quotes on the day of, and that's why I fast forwarded it up to you guys, because we have a safety issue. That's why. So it would not be correct to say we knew about it for a month and sat on it. That would not be correct. We didn't have all the info.
And before we lose track, don't we need to approve it now?
Yep.
Yeah, well, that we just, can we get a motion to,
I'll make a motion, we approve the deck repair approval from the last meeting.
okay, Tom made a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Polly's a second, all in favor? Alright. Next item is public comments. You good? Okay. Polly Council,
No, not me today.
Tom,
Nothing to know.
administrators report.
I'm never without a lack of things to say.
That's true.
All right,
That's
so
true.
one thing that Angie did do, it did not require a vote, but just kind of keeping everybody on the same loop. We have a church now that is going to the library every Sunday. And there's no charge for the library, but letting you know there's been the desire to have the church or this library utilized. Well, now it is every Sunday. And they're going in there and cleaning it up, and they've even talked about doing some additional cleaning and repair without charge to us as a thank you, so that's a part of it.
Sure.
Tomorrow is the next steering committee. Now, we reached out to everybody on the committee to talk to them and let them know and remind them. I don't know that we've had a lot of acknowledgement on that yet,
No, we haven't.
but it is the steering committee meeting tomorrow at 6 o'clock. That's our next one. Town is advertising for an alcohol referendum. You may know that we passed that ordinance to have a referendum on November. In conversation with Ashley Gay, Coweta Elections, she's requested now that we run 3 public advertisements in the month of October. 3. And so that's going to exceed our budget for advertisements. Just for October alone, if we do 3, the total cost for advertisements are $1,425. So that's a lot more than what we anticipated, but that's coming from her desire and her need for us to do that to ensure that the public is properly aware. So we've got 3 advertisements coming in October, and then we have one also coming on July 29. So that'll be 4 bites at the apple of notifying the people that this is coming.
In the organ of record.
Yes. Mhm. All right, but whenever we see that budget exceed, I want you to know that's one of the reasons why, it's because of this. Okay? At our last council meeting, we discussed having a workshop to discuss the liquor stores. As you know, with that referendum, we're gonna have to have some guidance to put into an ordinance on when we have, assuming it passes, if somebody comes and applies for an alcohol business, how many do we have? Who do we accept? We talked about having a workshop session for that, and we kind of let it go.
Do we have that before or after, Brad?
I would suggest having it before.
Okay.
You know, and so the next date that frankly I've got open, there's reasons why some of these dates won't work, but next date I've got is Monday the 20th. If that works for y'all, then we can set it up for Monday the 20th. And I'd be good if we even set it up before 6 o'clock.
I'm not available.
Not available. What?
The entire week.
Entire week, okay.
Where are you going down?
I'm going to court.
Oh,
That might matter.
you're in trouble.
I mean, I'm on a trial calendar the entire week. So,
Oh, thank you.
now, yeah, I mean, there's an outside chance, but I've got 3 of the first 4 cases on the calendar. So I've got one of them already settled, I think. I'll find out tomorrow. I'm just out of pocket.
We can print everybody's,
I can give you, if you wanna go ahead and do it,
Mm-hmm.
I can give you a list of things to talk about.
okay,
Okay.
That would be great.
And then if there's a potential of a conflict of one of the lawyers in another case, and if that case goes, then we won't go.
Okay.
But I'm not gonna know that until Sunday afternoon.
I hear you.
before the 20th. So I can give you a list of things to talk about,
okay.
and then y'all can,
Just get it to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
that's fine.
Yeah, I think the sooner we jump on this, the better, and that way we're prepared should we get a yes vote on the referendum, we know what we're doing ahead of time.
Does the 20th work for you guys?
I don't know, my calendar's on the same,
Okay,
probably,
It's fine with me.
okay.
is that Monday?
Uh-huh.
Yes, ma'am. It's a
Usually
Monday.
Mondays are safe.
All right, well then, we'll set it down for Monday, July 20. Do we want to stay 6, or do we want to make it a little bit earlier?
It doesn't matter to me.
Say again, I didn't hear
Do
that.
we wanna keep it at 6 PM or do we wanna do
Well, I don't really care.
I say, let's keep it at 6, cause then, Alex and Cynthia, if they're able to come,
Okay, Monday at 6. Monday, the July 20 at 6 o'clock.
yeah.
Okay. So that way
Are
we
you
can
guys
talk
gonna
about that.
Reach out to, let Alex and Cynthia know?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Speaking about this referendum vote we just took, the repairs are complete. And also the new wheel stops have been put out there, so that is also complete.
Oh, good.
Okay. And then a couple of bragging points. So during the month of June, town received $7,365 in a local road assistance grant. That's from the Department of Transportation. And is designated to fix some of the culverts that are starting to fail along Williams and Sunset. It's very much like an LMIG grant, except for in this case, there's not a 30% match. It's just pure grant money to us. So $7,000. A little bit more of a bragging point. Since the beginning of this year, town has received $14,209 in GDOT grants and another $3,261 in GMA safety grants. So
Good job.
we're doing pretty good with getting grants in.
Yeah.
And then kudos to Angie. We have a women's bathroom window out here, and she bypassed the usual duct tape, and she bypassed the WD-40 and went and got Gorilla Glue and fixed it. So there you go.
Saved us a ton of money.
Okay,
Awesome.
$6 tube of glue, fix that. And then we just now entered into the second half of the fiscal year. That means in about 3 months roughly, I'm gonna be crunching some initial numbers for your fiscal year 27 budget. So if you have ideas or projects or suggestions, please let me know so we can start baking them into the numbers. Okay? All right.
And I also have the wish list for next year, so.
Mayor's report, I don't have anything. Executive session, I
No.
don't have anything. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Tom made a motion, do a second, Polly, a second, all in favor? Unanimous? All right.
Okay,
Oh, good job.
there we go.
Oh,
Man.
I'm
Move the
scrambling to
tables
get
up, move
ready.
the chairs up.
Did you get everything you need for the,
I know.
See y'all later.
All right,
Nice to see
see
you, Tom.
the electoral stuff?